Hey guys, welcome back to some World of Warships, and Ranked is back at Tier 9. So you know I had to bring the Mogador back. This thing is so much fun to play in this Tier 9 Ranked, and we're going to have a really good game here. There's times in Mogador where you're going to get this early engagement against a DD, and you're just going to completely remove an enemy destroyer off the board. And well, this game, that's not exactly how it's going to go, at least at the beginning. Which is kind of nice, because I get an opportunity to show you guys how Mogador can play if you don't get that early pick. That's really what we're looking for a lot of the time, but we won't get it in this case. This time we also have to deal with a destroyer backed up by a Schroeder, which is a very difficult cruiser to take down for a destroyer, since the secondaries have pretty decent range and accuracy. And that ship also has a lot of armor. Also a Wujing, and then the Ruprecht is actually going to be coming here as well, so we got a lot to worry about. But early on, we can use our speed to just gain this cap really nicely, and I'm really looking to isolate fights. You notice how I pushed out just a little too far here? I really am trying to take that engagement with the enemy destroyer, whether it's the Black or the Kitakaze. I really want to know which one it is first, and then I am looking to take that engagement. We're going to use our Torps as more of a zoning tool here, since as you can see, I don't have the most support in this one. Our Buffalo has taken the long path, and I think our Pomerant's actually going to join him. It's okay if we lose a cap. It's really important to remember in the Mogador, you really do need to be using your HP to deal with the enemy destroyers. You don't want to be using it to try to hang on to a cap for a little bit longer. The real main priority you should be going for is damage into enemy destroyers. It is the Black here, which makes things a little more awkward thanks to his 7.5 kilometer radar, but we should be able to get out of its range without taking too much damage. My positioning here is very intentional. I'm keeping the Schroeder behind the island. I'm trying to keep the Wujing behind the island as well. Those secondaries have some pretty far range, but well, if you're speccing into French secondaries, the accuracy is not going to be all that great, so I'm not too worried about that. And that's also the smoke and the radar down for the Black. That's really important to keep in mind here. If we do run into it again within the next 2 minutes or so, he's actually going to not have that combo available to him. And that's when we really want to be striking. For now, though, he's got a little too much support nearby. That battleship and cruiser are like 2 kilometers away from him, so no point in going after him. May as well just try and farm here a little bit, especially since this Wujing has actually taken a lot of damage already. So we may as well try and apply a little more fire damage and try and take him out. It's really important. Our team's doing okay on the other side as well. Something you do want to be considering when playing this game is which side is your team stronger on, which side is the enemy team stronger on. Ranked games especially, there's often going to be one very strong side and one very weak side. Random battles can be a little different. But in Ranked, it should be pretty obvious. And then if you're on the weak side for your team, which we are in this case, for sure, you don't want to be risking too much. You're not the one that needs to force the issue until your strong flank loses. That is always an option in Ranked, as we know. But hopefully your strong flank should at least win or trade out that flank. For now, we don't need to push too aggressively, but we will later on, don't you worry. Mogador is all about those aggressive pushes. I've done a decent job of saving HP here early on, and we see the Schroeder actually going to the middle of the map. And that gives me an idea. What if we push in using this central island in the sea cap here to prevent the Wujing from getting a shot at us, and maybe we can rush this destroyer again. So engine boost coming back up. I did use it at the very beginning of the battle. Not something you always want to be doing. There's a thought where if you use it too early, well, you're not going to have it for late game. And if you're slightly slower getting to the C cap or the contested cap on a lot of these maps, well, you're going to reach it at a similar time to a lot of the slower DDs, even if they pop their speed boost. And since you are trying to look for those DD trades, maybe it's a good idea to get to the cap at a similar time. I haven't really done that too much, honestly. I like the turn my brain off, switch on the speed boost, and just run it down. That's kind of the idea here. But this one I was forced to think a little bit more, and you can see this enemy destroyer playing it very well. Using the island as cover here, our reload booster is really how we win a lot of these DD engagements, and he's really preventing us from getting a full clean booster into him. It's really smart. Also, the Ruprecht is in a just terrible spot for me to want to rush this guy. So we tried to push and we got shut down, but that's okay. We didn't lose too much HP. We still have a little bit left in us for a decent rush in a little bit. We just need to zone out this Ruprecht. If he does go behind this island and maybe even try and push out here, these torps should zone him out reasonably well. And we're also seeing the Wujing pushing a little farther north. The Schroeder is gone from our left flank, so we actually can push a little bit more towards the middle of the mount, the south, and actually not have to deal with the Ruprecht or the Wujing, hopefully, assuming they're behind the island. Notice we're spotted here. This DD again, doing a great job backing out, but he backed out a little too far here. And that's going to actually allow me to get 2 or 3 decent salvos into him here. And you can see just how devastating those salvos can be. We've already taken the destroyer down to around half health, maybe a little bit below. Those zoning torps do land, and now is my moment. I have to go. If the Ruprecht pushes any further, well, he's just going to get my side. And this Wujing here is also pushing up and is such a juicy target. I do think that at worst, I trade out the Wujing, but at best, we might actually trade out both of these kills. I'm probably going to die here. I'm only on 11,000 HP against a half health black and a battleship here. Who's ready for us? Oh no. This ship does drift a little bit, so we miss most. I would say most of the Wujing salvo misses us, slowing down just enough to land those torpedoes. And now look at this. Look at our saturation just go to work. He's doing next to no damage to us. So we managed to not only trade out both those ships, but we're actually alive for now, although the Ruprecht is backing out. These are exactly the kind of pushes that I love in the Mogador. What's what makes this ship and ranked mode so much fun at tier 9. Mogador is just such a beast, allowing you to get away with some of these just ridiculous rushes. We're also going to slow down here very sharply, trying to make a lot of the secondaries or any of the salvos he's firing at us go over our head right as we go dark. And we managed to live. I was feeling pretty good about myself in the moment, I ain't gonna lie. But it's important we don't get too overconfident and do something dumb to throw our ship away. Most of the time, at least in this game, this match is gonna be over here. But French saturation, if you didn't know, I did mention that as we were doing that rush. The parts of the hull, each section has a different HP amount. And if you deplete the HP amount in that section of the hull, bow, stern, center part of the hull, you're gonna do massively reduced damage there, especially with high explosive ammo. French DDs have a special saturation mechanic where they just start with less HP in a lot of the extremities, specifically the bow and the stern of the hull. So you do next to no damage to those things once it's taken a few hits there. And you can see, especially our bow, it's got a lot of holes in it. So that's why the black wasn't actually able to do all that much damage to us. Even though Mogador doesn't have a smoke or a heal, it is quite tanky still. A lot of these French DDs are very difficult to kill when they're on such low HP, simply because of that. They're also incredibly quick and have very dangerous guns, so those also help it to stay alive. People tend to not want to take engagements with this thing for very good reasons. Now we'll sit in the cap, get ourselves a little more farming damage, and that's going to do it. A very fun game, and certainly was feeling pretty good about myself in this one. Really do enjoy myself some tier 9 here. And maybe we got a little overconfident. Yep, we're going to eat that torp yet. Just to humble us a little bit there right at the end. Probably a good thing. Wouldn't want that to go to our head too quickly now, would we? 112k, 2 kills, and an epic rush to finish out that ranked game. A very enjoyable experience, and definitely a reason to play some tier 9 ranked yourself if you haven't given it a go. As for the build here, we are rocking a very ranked specific build, I would say, considering we are taking advantage of concealment. Even though we do want to be a gunboat DU primarily, we still need to get a little bit closer to those enemy destroyers. So 7.5 concealment is about as good as you're going to get here. So not amazing, but with our speed, we are typically able to close that distance relatively easily. The big one to remember is we always want to be using the island cover to our advantage. whenever possible. So surprising people with ambushes, that kind of thing. But this is the build that I was running. In random battles, I'd probably swap out concealment for main battery and AA expert, giving us a little more range. 12.8 isn't the most comfortable in random battles, but in ranked, it is mostly fine, outside of some trying to farm some secondary battleships, the full secondary German ones. Specifically get out to 12 kilometers, so it doesn't leave us a lot of wiggle room. Upgrades wise, this is what we're going with for now. Definitely taking advantage of that speed boost. That's kind of our lifeline here, so we need to maximize that as much as we possibly can. This would stay the same, I would say, for random battles. Well, you could consider even going steering gears mod 2. Not sure about that one, actually. That's more of a Cabras tech, where that ship has such a bad rudder shift. We have 4.7 here. It's really not bad. So even taking one concealment can help the ship be a little more comfortable to play. But that's it for the Mogador. Just a really fun ship, and ranked just is perfect for this thing. Just real quick to show you guys, you can see the different sections of the ship. Each one has, as I said, a different starting HP pool, and it can be depleted. Just look at how massive the bow version is, though. It's really where a lot of people are going to be hitting you, especially if you go, you know, rushing people. Typically, they're going to hit here, and once it saturates, you're going to be taking massively reduced damage. That can really help this ship get away with a lot of stuff that it probably shouldn't. So let me know if you've been playing the Mogador in ranked and having some fun. I certainly have. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.